Welcome to our Washington, DC release webinar. We're very excited to bring you all content on the latest enhancements to ServiceNow. Luckily for you, I will not be speaking about the Washington, DC release. Otherwise, I'd be bringing you an hour of content on the capital of the United States of America. So today we have a great panel of Platformation speakers here. We have Willem, Sebastian, Sergio, Jeroen, Paul, Josh, Martin, Panos, and Max. So without further ado, I am going to turn it over to our very first speaker, Jeroen, who is going to discuss App Engine. Jeroen, take it away.
Yeah, so thanks, Emma, for handing over. Good to have everyone here in the call and to introduce you on some App Engine topics. I will be discussing some items on Workflow Studio, Mobile SDK, and Creator Studio. So first, let's dive into Workflow Studio. So Workflow Studio is a new studio that has been introduced in the Washington, DC release. And its aim is to bring all automation capabilities of the platform together into one user experience, user interface. So prior, you had developers, they had to move through different sections of the platform. So for example, to go to decision tables or flows were within Flow Designer. And here you will find everything within one place. So the flows, subflows, decision tables, but also playbooks. You will find integrations here, more as an overview. We'll not be able to configure them here, but this will be your complete overview section here. The audience, mainly system administrators and application developers, and as for the offering, it will have some features depending on your licensing and modules availability. Another nice thing about this is you have a sort of a dashboard, meaning you can see how your processes and how your flows are being used and utilized and see what's been going on for the most time. Moving on to the next feature, we have Mobile SDK. So Mobile SDK is a platform capability now that, so for example, if you have your own applications as a company, your own mobile application, that's an important thing. The Now platform now opened up some components for you to use within your own mobile applications. So to give you some examples, you will now be able to send push notifications to your own app from the Now platform, but also enable, let's say, the virtual agent. Many of these more are possible, many other things are possible, but I would recommend checking out the ServiceNow documentation website for the APIs and features. The last one, we have the Creator Studio. This is a little bit more of a teaser. This is not available upon the first release, but it will be part of the second store release. Not much information is yet shared on this, but it's going to replace App Engine Studio in a way where it will have all development features integrated in one seamless experience for no-code, low-code development. And why I wanted to share this still during the session is because it is going to change the way apps are going to be developed. As for this will also go for system administrators and app developers. But if your organization is also making use of citizen development, this is also going to be part of that. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to Martin.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. I'd like to take you through some employee experience features, namely skills intelligence, some new features of the Employee Center and Now Mobile, and employee growth and development. So first of all, regarding skills intelligence, that is an AI-driven platform that you can use in your organization to develop a talented workforce based on skills. The feature already exists, but Washington brings you mostly an improved user experience with a guided setup that helps you to set up correctly and efficiently, with a workspace that gives a helpful overview of any data and insights that require your attention. In Manager Hub, managers are provided with some tools to identify and follow up on their team's skills with a clear overview page. And in employee growth development, skills intelligence is also leveraged, but I will come back to that later when I talk about that part. Next, we have a few features in the Employee Center and in Now Mobile to improve your employee experience. So the new center that you see right there is now available on the mobile app, and featured news, which is a widget that is on the homepage of your employee center, is now automatically added. Before, you had to manually add that widget to the homepage. Secondly, your content creators get more options when creating articles. For example, it's easier to align text, to align pictures or videos, making your news articles look way nicer. And lastly, on this slide, employee experience feedback is also a quick way for your employees to provide feedback regarding their experiences on the employee center. It has been revamped with a new dashboard to follow up on that feedback. Next, we have employee growth and development, a feature that has been available for a few months now, but constantly new features are being added here. Two features that I want to highlight are, first of all, mentoring. It's an application that connects people within your organization, so mentors and mentees, to collaborate. So you can register as a mentor or as a mentee and enrich your profile with skills, with your area of expertise, and with your interests. So this is where the link with skills intelligence comes in. Then, based on goals, interests, and expertise, those two people are matched and they're able to share knowledge and to collaborate. And last but not least, we have the Opportunity Marketplace, which is a new feature that allows employees to look for internal jobs within the organization that fit their skills, that fit their experience and their aspirations. That's all I wanted to share with you today. Thanks, and I'll hand it over to Paul.
All right, thanks, Martin. So for reporting and analytics, we have three main topics. There are a lot of improvements, but most of them are on the analytics center. They've added proactive insights and some upgrades to the filters and to the widget or visualization statistics. So the first one would be for the analytics center. So currently, or let's say pre-Washington, there was the platform analytics workspace that's now been moved to its own menu item called the analytics center. So you can access all the new workspace dashboards from there, or the next experience dashboards. And they've built a migration tool, which is now available in the migration center. And what you can do there is migrate all your current dashboards from the classic environment to the next experience. There are three options, well, actually two options, and the other one is do nothing, but you have the option to migrate everything. If you do that, all your dashboards will become analytics center dashboards. Reports and widgets will be converted to visualizations, and interactive filters and breakdowns will be moved to unified filters. And if you choose to migrate everything, you won't be able to access the classic environment content anymore. But if you can also do a tryout migration, and then you can select specific dashboards to migrate, and then you can see how they perform. Anything that's incompatible currently with the next experience will be shown as an iframe content. So there are some things that won't be able to be displayed in the next experience yet, but they're working on improving that. And talking about improving, on the next slide, we have the proactive insights. So on your new workspace dashboards, there's a tab or a button actually that opens the insights. And the insights is a new tool that they developed, which is automatically picking up the content from the KPIs that are shown on the dashboards related to performance analytics, and it will use the KPI signals to show you trending or specific content that is noteworthy, basically, that you need to look into, or any outliers in the data that's being displayed. And from that menu, you can automatically you can click through to the KPI details and then investigate what's going on the insights. You can also configure them for specific types of data that you have available on your dashboard. And the next improvement is on the filtering. So they've added unified filters, so you can actually use normal filtering like the interactive filters in the past and the breakdowns, and they've moved that into one filter. that was already there, but now they've also added many-to-many relationships where you can have the contents of one filter being affected by the selection of another filter. So if you have, let's say, you could select a manager and then all the assignment groups that this manager is managing. So it's very intuitive to use. If you have the links available, then automatically you can select if these filters need to listen to each other, basically, and then the data will be filtered accordingly. So it makes it easier to select the specific filters on your, or at least the elements on your dashboard. And lastly, there has been some additions to time series charts, where you can actually select the date range directly on the filter. This is improving the let's say the way that the filters are working, or that the widgets are working specifically for let's making them on par with what was previously possible, and the increased let's say usage of the platform. So that's it for the analytics part, and now I'll hand it over to Panos.
Thank you, Paul. Hey all, everyone. So I will be walking you through three main areas within SPM as well. The resource management workspace, the enterprise agile planning, and collaborative work management. The last two are two complete new areas. To start with, the resource management workspace, it's a new workspace that will enhance the resource management process actually within ServiceNow, moving from resource plans to dedicated resource task assignments. So it will create the overall visibility in resource planning on a single form. So to help resource managers creating their dedicated boards to have that holistic dedicated view across all the teams and the information that they want to target. Additionally to these boards, it will help them to identify bottlenecks easier with indications over utilization. So if someone is overutilized, underutilized, etc. And it will also allow them to collaborate with task owners instantly by integrating also with Teams chat, but also approving all incoming requests coming their way. Everything in one view. Next, second area, introducing the enterprise agile planning, a new functionality within the strategic planning workspace within SPM, which will give the ability to scale the agile practices actually of an organization. So you can bring their all teams across different areas together, mainly agile teams, of course, and it will give the real-time visibility and coordination across these teams. So it can be considered actually as the hub for planning, managing all types of agile work, and also with clear dependencies among these teams. So to get that holistic view. Last point on this area, it will also come with dedicated structures. So if you want to, so actually if you're working full-scaled agile or essential or large, it will come with predefined settings and structures so that you can apply these if you think a bit more in the safe terminology. Next, the last area I want to give some insights is to the collaborative work management space, which is also new actually. And it's part of the SPM, let's say, licensing, but it can also be acquired as a standalone package. So what is actually collaborative work management? It is a place for team members to plan, manage, prioritize, and collaborate on work. So what that means is someone can create their own personal spaces, so they can add all kinds of types of work. It doesn't have to be only project work related activities, but also work that someone has to do outside projects, so operational work, any type of work actually. So a part of the personal spaces, you can also have shared spaces where you can work with team members together and to collaborate on that different aspects of work. Also, at the same time, being able to create custom types, custom columns to be able to support that, let's say, work content that you want to plan and to manage. And last, really interesting as well, is the ability to create, share, and collaborate documents, actually. So you can create content for your own work, but you can also share this content online with people, see who is able to work on these, collaborate with mentioning and all this kind of cool stuff. So it's really promising, and it's quite interesting what they have introduced here. So that was my SPM update. Hope you enjoyed it. And I would like to give the word to Sebastian. Thanks.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Panos. So let's see. Today on CSM, we are focusing a lot on the different ways to guide your agents and users. And the cherry on top will be a neat little change to the data model. So let's jump right into it, with the first one being enhancements to the guided decisions, right? So, and guided decisions were already pretty neat to begin with, but with those new improvements, right, instead of just having to go linear down with a bunch of questions until you reach some guidance, now as an agent, you can actually go back, revisit previous responses, give a different answer, reach a different guidance at the end, or even jump to another tree fully, right? So as an admin, it gives you great possibilities to change your modeling of the different guided decision trees to really improve how you build them. And that's not all. Now you can even add those guided decisions with a widget to your service portal to guide your users. So imagine you have a very extensive service catalog, and your users might not be sure what service they have to submit, right? Now you could provide them with the guided decision trees, ask them a bunch of questions, and in the end, provide them with the right item to order, with the right article to read, and such. So it's a very, very helpful improvement. Next up, our next improvement on guidance is the playbooks for Service Portal, right? So we could already use playbooks to guide agents for very complex processes, but now you can even guide your users through, for example, the case creation, also using a playbook. So if you have a very complex process that has multiple steps where you might need to involve your user not only when they're ordering, but also throughout the life cycle of the case, then you can easily guide them through them, just like you see here in the screenshot, by using playbooks for the service portal. Last but not least, we have a very welcome change to the data model. We all know it, or many companies do. You have an employee that is not only working for you, but is also a private consumer of your product or service, right? In the past, you had to have a consumer record for them and a user record, right? They needed to log in with different users depending on what they wanted to do in the system. Not anymore, right? Now you can actually link a consumer to an internal user so they can get the best of both worlds. There's no need anymore for a business stakeholder license to make them contributor users, for example. No, you give them the unified consumer license, you link the two together, and then your internal user can use the consumer service portal and all its benefits just like your customers. And that's it from my side. If there are any other questions around those features, just hit me up, and I'm handing over to Sergio.
Thank you so much, Sebastian. Today, I'll be bringing you 3 of the coolest of the many new features making their way into Washington, DC release for the field service management product. We're going to start with the predictive intelligence 4-part requirements. Then we'll have a look at the Now Assist features for field service management. And last but not least, a new integration available since the Washington, DC release of ServiceNow, which is the bins.ai integration for estimation of travel times and to make better schedules for our field engineers. Now, moving to the first feature, similar to other products, and as it was already happening in ITSM and CSM, in ServiceNow, we can now also use predictive intelligence for field service management, specifically when it comes to part requirements. So we can train similarity models, assuming that we have the necessary number of records to train those models. And ServiceNow can then predict, based of course on these machine learning models, can predict what will be the best parts to be used for a specific work order. Eliminate, not only accelerating greatly the way that operations run for your customer issues, like the different work orders that are assigned to them, it can also remove the human error factor of choosing the wrong parts, just by simply looking at the previous work orders you have on your database. The next feature I would like to present to you is the Now Assist for FSM as well, and yet again another feature that was already available for some other products and that now makes its way to field service management as from the Washington DC release. And to be a bit more concrete, Now Assist allows us to not only have summarizations done of the work order tasks, saving a lot of time to field engineers, and of course, not only having it done, but having it done right, in the sense that these summarizations can provide all the information to all the other fulfillers involved in that particular work order's resolution, but also the end users and all the agents involved in the process by giving them a summary of all the activities that were performed by the engineer. And they can also, once again, of course, assuming that there is the necessary data in the platform, they can also create or generate, in this case, the close notes for those same work order tasks. Last but not least, we have, as I mentioned at the very beginning, a new integration available for field service management. This is Beans.ai, a technology already being used by big companies or that are heavy into the transportation business, let's say, which is Uber Eats and FedEx. And what it allows is just similar like what we're used to have whenever we drive somewhere with our favorite GPS app, is that now ServiceNow can have pretty accurate travel estimations based on traffic and any other information, allowing not only to foresee and predict the easiest routes to get to the customers physically for these field engineers, it also allows dispatchers to then plan way more efficient routes for the engineers or for their schedules for any given day. This will be available as from the release, and of course, for more information, you can always have a look on the documentation of ServiceNow. I also recommend, before I hand it over to my next colleague, Willem, I also recommend having a look on the release notes themselves of the product, since these are three of the many other features that make its way. These are, of course, the three hottest and coolest features coming specifically to field service management. But once again, and it applies to all the other products, have a look on the release notes, since these are, and this is a very packed release in terms of features. Now, without any further ado, I will give the word to my colleague Willem, which will discuss, including many others, the generative AI features of ServiceNow.
Yeah, thank you, Sergio. Yeah, starting off with the platform capabilities as shared with many of these products, I'm focusing mainly on time-limited user roles and the access analyzer. So these are both security features, and as Sergio said, and we'll also cover Gen AI as a separate topic. Starting off with time-limited user roles, to translate that in business lingo, you might recognize this as the fireman procedure, the break glass procedure. What does this mean? Is it's a good practice that you probably all know to limit the amount of users that have high access, that have a lot of roles that grant them access in the system. But we also know in practice that they might need to do at some times, from time to time, work that requires them a higher level of access to the system. So what you can do with time-limited user roles is, for a limited time, grant those users high privilege roles. That can be admin, but it can also be really specific roles. So having the benefits of access while most of the time having that reduced access. As the next feature also ties into security is the access analyzer. And what we see in practice is you want to set up, Maarten is sitting next to me, my user should have similar access as Maarten. Access Analyzer now allows you to compare those two users. So you select two users. Hey, do they have access to the same things that I'm expecting? So in the example screenshot, of course, since this is the Washington release, I picked George Washington, compared it to Abraham Lincoln. You can see the details, roles, and groups, and compare those users and determine, hey, why does user A have access and user B doesn't? It really helps in debugging why security might be different or the same. Then the next will be a full topic. Sergio already introduced this, is generative AI. We're deviating a bit of the format because in the next slide, I will show you all the platform capabilities. Don't worry, I'm not going to cover them all. But if you click, and Emma and I have to do a bit of dancing with the animation, you see here, Gen AI, Generative Artificial Intelligence, is a platform capability covering the whole platform. But if you click through the animation, you also see it's increasingly becoming part of integrated products. So you can have it as a platform capability, build your own AI solutions, and like Sergio demonstrated, it's really powerful in those dedicated field service management integrations. And I think Joshua will also share some AI integrations. So this is just to give you a bit of context. In the next slide, we will dive into what's new in those generative AI functions, recursive summarizations, and capabilities per role or field. So starting off with the first one, this is very important. For those of you who are familiar with something called the prompt engineering, you can make the results of AI better by thinking what you ask of it. And one way to improve your question to AI is providing context. But context is limited and costly. So what ServiceNow provides is it allows you to provide context, first summarizes that context into more compact. So the AI will still have a lot of context. Let's say you say, hey, these 3 full books are very useful to give me a better answer. You can first summarize them and give them with the context. So limiting the file size and the amount of what we call tokens in order to increase the efficiency of the result. So that's one very powerful mechanism. And the next one also helps you with, I would say, cost management, is you can determine which AI capabilities are available for which roles in the system. So you can say, hey, this is a very good, cool AI functionality, but I want specific users to have access to that. That's possible. And you can set up conditions. So only in these conditions, we will use AI. That it's not making unused calls, which eventually cost you money. So setting this up properly will help you be more efficiently cost-wise in AI. So very powerful overall AI capabilities in the platform. Then the next one is handing it over to Joshua.
Thank you. You've heard some of the new and exciting features that are being augmented by leveraging the amazing power of generative AI, and I want to highlight a couple more right now. First, I want to talk about Now Assist and how it works with operations management. I want to talk about content services. And finally, I want to talk about the Discovery Admin Workspace and the changes therein. So first, Now Assist for IT Operations Manager is utilizing generative AI to provide some really interesting value, very exciting ways. When we talk about IT Operations Manager, we talk about the different things that we do within the system, specifically getting information out to manage IT. We use integrations with different systems to provide quick responses to issues that may arise, but sometimes we get error messages that come through these integrations that aren't in an easily readable format. Now Assist takes confusing technical error messages and provides you with a clear summary that will help you find a solution quicker by converting it into easy-to-read English. Next, I'd like to bring your attention to the IT Operations Manager's content service. Now, ServiceNow provides additional discovery patterns that help identify items in the ITOM content service. This system has been around for a while, but now by applying AI to this feature, ServiceNow can now help identify running processes to suggest new CIs that may be relevant to your infrastructure. It can also identify irrelevant processes that shouldn't be in your CMDB. And as your network grows, it's good to have help identifying new items and having the ability to know what is and is not important. Finally, I'm pleased to tell you about the changes to the Discovery Admin Workspace. The Discovery Admin Workspace is a dedicated space focused on the reports and tasks that are near and dear to a Discovery admin. From this workspace, you can see the suggestions that are provided by the ITOM content services and make decisions on how to utilize the provided information. You can make changes to the suggested class and pattern name to be used. You can view the information about the process sample that led to the suggestions to help you with your decisions. And you can add these suggested patterns to your next discovery run to further populate your CMDB. And with that, I'd like to hand it over to Max.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for handing over. I will tell you a little bit more about about my favorite features, new features in Washington in integrated risk management. So there are a lot of new features. Before I start, I want to highlight again, I did it already, I think, in the last webinar, a lot of new features in IRM are only available in the workspace user interface. So if you're not yet using the workspaces, but the classic UI, I would really highly recommend you to switch to workspaces, even though most of us, and I guess maybe also most of you, are used to the classic UI. So I will tell you today about three topics or three features. On the one hand, the management report in Microsoft Word for risks, etc., controls and assessment enhancement, and the third-party risk module enhancement. To start with the management reports in Microsoft Words, you can now create templates, Word templates, so you can connect ServiceNow with Microsoft Office, with Microsoft Words, and create in there Word templates, which is fetching data from ServiceNow. So it fills your Word templates and all the sections up with live data of ServiceNow. So you can define tables which are automatically filled maybe with your list of top risks, pie charts, or any other reporting capabilities in ServiceNow, which are automatically updated constantly, and therefore you can use that to send it over to management. You can use therefore all the capabilities of Microsoft Words and still receive all the input and also all the reporting capabilities of ServiceNow. As a second feature, I want to talk about all the new enhancements around controls and the new assessment engine. So there are now to the controls and control objectives, ServiceNow has now added control requirements, which are actually subsections of the controls, which means when you, for example, want to attest ISO 27000, which also in the ISO 27000, all the line items have subsections, you can now define that, and you can decide either to do assessments of requirement level or on control level. So you don't have to do it on requirement level, you don't have to go more into detail as you already do, but you have the option now to split up controls and therefore manage your compliance even on a more detailed level. The second new feature around controls is the hybrid controls, which can kind of reuse control requirements of other controls. So you don't, if the same control requirements are used for other controls, you can reuse that and don't have to do it again. And the third one, which is a big new thing, it will be even becoming bigger in future in IRM, is the new assessment engine. So the attestations are now renamed into classic attestations, and there's a new assessment engine for now only for attestation templates, where you can create your attestation templates. You can create the questionnaire sent out for your attestations, which will in future also be used at other places in IRM, like the third-party risk management and other places where you use questionnaires and assessments. And as the third new topic, or the third enhancements I want to present, is everything around the third-party risk module. You know, with the last release, the vendor risk management was renamed or remade into third-party risk. And already there, a lot of new features were added, new workflows were added, but now ServiceNow even made those workflows better. So you can really manage your end-to-end third-party lifecycle from onboarding to assessments do offboarding all in the applications with a better user interface, with less clicks. So ServiceNow really focused, we're listening to feedback of customers, focused also to reduce the clicks in the different stages. You can now schedule assessment and send out assessment in bulk, which was until now also not possible out of the box. So you're able to use scheduled jobs, whatever, but now you have really a schedule engine everyone can use. And you can send follow-up questionnaire based on answers your third party provides or your internal person. So if third party provides you a certain answer insufficiently, or within, if they say they are not ISO 27000 certified, for example, then automatically the system will send out another security questionnaire to follow up on that question. So really a lot of great features, but there's also, I think Sergio was saying, that was now just a small highlight from all those new things in around IRAM, around third-party risk management, BCM. I had to select 3 of them. If you're more interested in more of that, you can anyway always contact me, and I'm happy to tell you more about all the new features. With that, I think I hand over to Emma again for Q&A.
Yes, excellent. I would like to say thank you to all of our speakers. It is surprisingly difficult to discuss ServiceNow enhancements under 4 minutes. So that is no small feat. You all did a great job. And now we have about 20 minutes for Q&A. So feel free to either unmute yourself if you feel comfortable asking the question live, or you can always use the Q&A function as well. Question about the Analytics Center. Okay, so I see we can't unmute, but please do put your questions in the chat or the Q&A feature if you have them.
I can take this question for the CSM workspace. the Analytics Center, and Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, it is a separate workspace, but since the last release, CSM workspaces come with their own dashboard feature. So now you can actually use dashboards as your CSM landing page, or better said, pages, because you can have as many as you want and can switch around, right? And those let you create your reports in the same way and has exactly the same features.
Yeah, that's correct. For most workspaces, you can add a link to all the dashboards. So you have your own landing page, but then you have also access to all the dashboards built on the next experience.
Yeah, and Peter asks about the service operation workspace, if that behaves the same, but indeed it's in line with the CSM workspace as well.
Good questions. Excellent. Thank you for catching those answers, guys. And another question, is it also possible to have a unified contact user record explained for user consumer?
With the current change, this is not possible yet. The difference here is that previously you had a consumer, which the consumer record itself does not include credentials or a login. You would link it to a so-called consumer user, which then stored your login information, right? Now, instead of linking your consumer to a consumer user, you would link it to the employee, which has the actual login. Now, with a contact is already a type of user, right? It is the contact table is a child table of the user table, which means it comes with its own login. So no, at this point for the contacts, you wouldn't have that, but also I'm not sure. Yeah, I could see a few use cases where it makes sense, right? Because technically an employee means you are employed at the company that hosts your service now, right? But a contact means you are employed at a customer. Now, I could see, for example, that you are an external at a company, like a consultant, like us, right? So you would indeed be technically a contact and might have employee duties as well. Right now, that's not solved with the unified consumer, but I can take a deeper look and come back to you and see what we could do about it.
Yeah, and Sebastian, to add to the consultancy life, we know you need a strong password manager for all the logins that a consultant might need.
Indeed, we do. So right now, probably the best way would be the contributor user for that one. But of course, it would require business stakeholder license. So I will take a look and let you know what alternatives there might be.
Thank you for grabbing that one, Sebastian and Willem. Any other questions? Like the speaker said, there are so many more enhancements, so please do make sure to check out the release notes from ServiceNow. We wish that we could cover every single enhancement for you, but that would keep you here all day, and I don't think we have time for that. So please make sure to check that out.
And I would also like to point out, Emma, to keep an eye on the Platformation YouTube channel. This recording will be posted there. But if I see the marketing pipeline, there's a lot of content that will be published on the Platformation YouTube channel.
Yes, thank you, Willem. We will definitely be sending everyone who attended a copy of the recording, but we also have a bunch of great content out on our YouTube channel. So please go check it out. We would love to share that knowledge with you. And if there's a topic that you want to hear us cover, please reach out to us. Reach out to me, send me a message or an email, and I'd be happy to arrange that. All right, I think we're down to enough participants. We are going to go ahead and close the call. But again, thank you all for attending, and we look forward to speaking with you again soon.